The Detroit Lions have a chance to clinch the NFC North this Sunday in Week 16 with the win over the Minnesota Vikings. And to do that, our offense is going to have to be like they were last week, putting up the most points that they've scored in a game. The previous high was 41 against the Chargers, putting up 42 against the Denver Broncos. And when the offense is rolling, we can steamroll and hang with any team. The defense has been letting us down for the most part on that side of the ball. And we neglected to shore up that defense at the trade deadline. Didn't really make any power defensive moves on that defensive line in the NFL draft, and zero moves in free agency. So now this late season push, as we go on to the playoffs, we're probably looking to bring in guys that can make a difference on this team and contribute at least as we go on this playoff run. And I wasn't going to talk about this guy, but I become the guy now that, and I love this, that when something happens with the Detroit Lions or somebody gets released, the Twitter wants me to talk about it, and I wasn't going to. And then I saw something from Pride of Detroit that got me thinking about, you know what, this might be something when it comes to this individual here. But this is coming from Ian Rappaport. Says, a surprise. The Chargers are waiving defensive tackle Sebastian Joseph-Day, who has started 14 games, source said, would be a potential addition for a playoff team. And for the first time in 7 years, the Detroit Lions can say that we are a playoff team. It's not official yet, but it will be this Sunday. All we need is to beat the Minnesota Vikings. In some chance that we lose that game, we just need the Minnesota Vikings to lose one, and that is going to happen. But I'm not worried. We will win Sunday against the Minnesota Vikings and secure our first ever division title and make the playoffs and lock up that third seed, a trifecta. And I don't think the Lions are going to let us down. But here's the stats on Sebastian Joseph-Day. 6'4", 310, 28 years old, was a 6th-round pick in 2018 to none other than the LA Rams. So far this season, as a defensive tackle, he has 3 sacks, 15 tackles. If we go to his stats here, he has averaged at least 1 sack in his career, all season, all career, right? So coming off of 3 this season and has only played 14 games. So you could say, no, actually in 2021, he actually won a title with the LA Rams. I believe he did. I don't know. Yeah, because it would show if he was on another team, it would show that here in 2021. So he didn't finish the season, I guess, or maybe he didn't start the season for the LA Rams, but he did get a title with them in 2021. But this guy right here wouldn't be half bad. Now, if we look at his salary here, he was paid $6.5 million this season. That was his base salary, was $6.5 million. I don't know how much of that would be due now. I have no idea how much of that would be owed. It's only 3 games left in the season. I have no idea what he would sign for, but that could be a reason as to why he would clear waivers. And that's, to me, the only chance we have at him, because we are ranked 29th on the waiver wire. We are number 29. So this guy would have to go through 28 other teams just to get to the Detroit Lions. But there have been other guys that have cleared waivers due to their contract. If they clear waivers and are free to sign with another team, that a team essentially starts from scratch, and they're not owed any of the monies from their previous team. So that would be a reason that Sebastian Joseph-Day clears waivers. Would the Detroit Lions do this? Now, this is something I almost missed that I want to show you. Would they do it? They might, but here would be a reason why I could see them making room for this guy. According to Eric Schlitt from Pride of Detroit, says drafted by the Rams when Brad Holmes was their director of college scouting, and that is the same it was the same way with Jared Goff. So that could be a reason why we would take a look at this guy if he does make it to us on waivers. And even so, even if he clears, we could also take a look at him as well. We have become the place that a guy would love to sign here. I mean, we have gone from the same old Lions and a joke to a legitimate contender for the Super Bowl. I really believe that this year. I know a lot of us don't think that we're ready, but you never know. This guy could be that one piece. We don't need right now in the season. We don't need like that guy. You know what I'm saying? It's too late to get that guy. We have to get that guy in free agency or that guy in the draft. We just need a guy at this point with the right set of circumstances happening. We could go on a run. We've seen it before. Guys acquired to later in the season, and they're able to help their team acquire a Super Bowl or at least go on a nice little run. So we would have to make room for this guy. I wouldn't mind if he came. I think we have an overabundance of defensive tackles, in my opinion. I mean, from Broderick Martin to Isaiah Buggs to Benito Jones to Tyson Alualu. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I would prefer an edge rusher, but the dude has 3 sacks in 14 games. I mean, you never know. 1 sack could help us. Look at what Bruce Irvin has done for this team, notching 2 sacks in his short time, and basically 2 sacks in 2 games or something like that. I don't remember if it's 1 or 2, but he was enough to create some type of problem for the opposing team, right? So I wouldn't be mad. I don't think he's going to make it to us. And again, I would prefer an edge rusher, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Even if he clears waivers and the Detroit Lions, I think the Lions would claim, if a team claims him, they want the contract, they're going to take on the contract, whatever's left. And if they let him clear waivers, then he can make a decision. Whereas with the waivers, he couldn't, right? So if the Lions didn't want to take that chance, I think we have just under $3 million. I know he's not making 3. I mean, we only have 3 games left of the season. I would say under $1 million, maybe is what this guy, maybe $1.5 million. It depends. I haven't really done the math. I don't know if you break it down per game, but if you broke it down per game, you could do the math and see if that's how it works and just maybe come up with a rough estimate. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind. Again, I would prefer an edge rusher at this point. I think we've done all we can do at the cornerback, bringing in some guys to the practice squad. So I think now we have to focus on that defensive line, whether it's an edge rusher or a defensive tackle. But again, we have a plethora of defensive tackles. Those are the only people it seems like Brad Holmes wants. It seems like Brad avoids the edge rushers at this point. I don't know, but we'll see as the day goes by. But I will say this. Jason Pierre-Paul did clear waivers. At least I didn't hear anything about it. And so far, Justin Houston is still not on the team 72 hours later. So I don't know. But this guy has that connection with Brad Holmes, so he could be a Detroit Lion. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. At first, like I said, I'm like, we have a bunch of defensive tackles, so why would we get another one? But then looking at this guy's stats and that connection with Brad Holmes, maybe, out of all of the guys that we mentioned, I could see this one being the one that comes to the Detroit Lions. But we got like 10. It seems like we got a bunch of defensive tackles on the roster. But if this guy can help us get to the quarterback, that's all I want at this point. Because at this, we trying to go on a run, and anybody, literally anyone, would help us do that. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.